Navajo will slide in Darren Yappy. Here's Darren Yappy! One back for the Rapids! Just what they needed before the break! It's Yappy Hour, New York City! Here is another look at the goal for the Rapids before the break.
Well, he's coming off an assist and a goal performance against LA Galaxy. First touch I thought was going far too close to the defender. Navajo does well. Perfectly weighted pass. Second contact on the ball from Yappy is great. Takes him wide from the defender. And from that angle, it's such a composed finish. Matt Freeze.
And welcome to Rapids Rant. I'm Don Pablo, of course. That was the only Rapids goal, unfortunately, in New York City at Yankee Stadium, where the Rapids have had success before going to the East Coast. Rapids currently on a 3-game road trip. This weekend, they'll be in Kansas City at Livestrong, or whatever they call it now. Children's Mercy, something like that. Anyway, this is Rapids Rant. Yeah, follow us on Instagram. Go to Facebook. There's a Rapids Rant page, of course. TikTok, just Don Pablo, and Instagram. Just look me up, Don Pablo. We're all over the social medias. We're excited for this Rapids road trip. I thought they would have more fight in them when they went to halftime 2-1. But unfortunately, Nico Fernandez beat the Rapids all by himself, getting a brace before halftime. And he scored the winning goal, and it was off of a free kick. And I was trying to look for a deflection, but I didn't see it. And he scored off the free kick right through the wall, 2-man wall for the Rapids. And they were chasing the game the rest of the way, and City put it away in the out of reach anyway in the 86th minute. Magno scored for City, and Rapids come home from New York, no results. And they came home in the cold, right? Yeah, and then now, and it's the vernal equinox this weekend for the Rapids. They'll play first day of spring, Saturday the 21st. 3 more months until summer equinox and the summer solstice, of course. One of the best days of the year, in my opinion. We did a camping trip. Me and my friends have done a camping trip every year for many, many years. Although that has gone by the wayside as a lot of them have had kids and they don't have the free time for that anymore. And we're lucky if we get, 2 trips a year. And priorities shift and everything. And just like priorities are going to shift next year when I feel like the July 4th game is going to be in jeopardy as MLS changes their schedule. They have the sprint season coming up in January to May. And they said it's going to be mid-July, early July. I don't know. If they have the 4th Fest, if that's going to be a preseason. Because now MLS doesn't have to do preseason in Arizona and Florida anymore, or Mexico, wherever the MLS teams would go. Preseason early July. It could be here. Maybe they'll do a preseason match of some type, and it actually might work out. And we'll get to the City match, and obviously, we're still in the honeymoon period with Matt Wells, only his first month on the job during the regular season. And Rapids, obviously, 2 wins at home and 2 losses on the road early this year. But, pie in the sky, talking about Leagues Cup and the preseason and the schedule change that's coming up next year. Although there is all of this year, there's only been 4 games out of 34 for the MLS season. We're still early. We're going to look at the schedule. We're going to talk about last week's. We're going to talk about some Champions Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup here on Rapids Rant. And I'm just saying, maybe there's time. We sometimes Denver gets these midsummer showcase matches. And another benefit of going to the schedule, the world soccer schedule, the world FIFA schedule, some Don Garber news came out today as well. is, preseason, we have a lot of, national teams come. No, not national team, international club teams. And there was a Manchester United. I know Caberto's going to laugh at me when I bring this up. The Manchester United coming to Denver, playing at Mile High Stadium. And heck of a day. That was a fun time. And obviously, Mexico played Uruguay a couple years ago. I'm sorry, Mexico fans. That was a rough day for you guys, but probably one of the more famous soccer players that have played here until April 18th here in about a month. You know who? World Cup champion. Lionel Messi's coming. Anyway, so get your tickets there. They're still selling them. They had a flash sale. The Rapids sent some emails out. I hope people got those. Still think those are going to be more expensive. The Rapids versus Inter Miami going to be more expensive than some of the World Cup matches that are coming. Although I've already paid for mine in Kansas City, and I want to thank the San Antonio Spurs for winning 52 games because that at least paid for my tickets and heck of a time there. Heck of a time. Gambling is very dangerous. I wouldn't suggest it for anybody, even guys that have watched sports for 40 plus years like me. It's all decided on the field. But as anything in life, responsible, moderation. So what I was saying is that I always talk about like the three Mountain Time teams. Of course, the Colorado Rapids, the Real Salt Lake Royals, and then Juarez. Maybe we can get some, preseason and a Mexican Liga Max preseason, situation over here, and then they wouldn't have to travel that far. El Paso, I'm sure I think they have a USL team, so there'd be a 4-team situation down there somewhere that could meet up. And I know New Mexico United might do something. Just saying, that's pie in the sky. They won't have to travel that far. It'd be a fun regional thing, and maybe people would come to Denver or Salt Lake or El Paso. They have a big stadium, the Sun Bowl down there. It's pretty nice on University of Texas El Paso campus, and it's also the Mountain Time Zone. So, I think that'd be fun. Maybe something to think about for July 4th festival. Make it a preseason tournament, a couple matches at Dick's Sporting Goods or Mile High or wherever, somewhere around there. That'd be like a traveling thing. July 4th, who doesn't like to travel that day or, get out of town, do something. And I think there's another way to make money that would be big because Rapids, traditionally, and a lot of older fans would know, they packed Mile High Stadium and even the old Mile High Stadium way back in the day. So why not? Why not bring that back? Bring some maybe bigger League of Max teams just for a preseason friendly or, get to know the new team this year. But that's far away. We're here now. And I know it's early. Yappy, I think 3 appearances, 2 starts for the Rapids this year, and 2 goals in his last 2 matches, including 1 in Yankee Stadium. And I guess, I don't know, they probably didn't take batting practice, but if I were a player, I'd be like, man, let me take some batting practice. I know they could shoot. I know some players could shoot hoops because they got a basketball goal in their practice field over there, and they're playing. They shoot. They do contests over there shooting. So I'm sure some of them can hit a baseball. I mean, because scoring a goal in Yankee Stadium is one thing, but hitting a home run, even if it's in batting practice, just to be able to say that. And I know it's not Yankee Stadium from 1920s, but it was across the street, and it's still Monument Park, and they had nets over the Monument Park, but you could still see it. That was the cool part about watching the game last week. You can see Monument Park back there, and the microphones were so far away from the fans that you could hear the coaches, you could hear the players, and everything that was said. And always interested in that. Who cares about expletives or whatever? I don't know. I mean, that's just every sporting event, every field, and and it's tame because if you ever sit courtside at a basketball game, you will hear something. Yeah, and it always surprises me when people come. And when I worked at my first radio station, and I had some guys on there that have been in Denver market for 30 years. And the first time I heard, a particular talent like curse, I was like, oh man. Celebrities are just like us, huh? And I've seen the cuff button, I've heard of the cuff button, but I never knew people use a cuff button for not just coughing. Sometimes colorful language happens there. Anyway, I think we need more people, and I hope more people go to the games. New York City FC with their traveling championship banner when they open their own place. I think it's going to be called Etihad Stadium. But City FC, they're going to do that. I think it's next year. So they'll be in time for sprint season, or if not, the 2027-28 season, I guess it will be called. Although they're still, and I saw the news they were talking about is they're still going to have a break from like mid-December to early February. So they're going to have a break early December to mid-February, allegedly. And that came from MLS.com, what I was reading. And then they're going to do February to, May or June. So I'm like, whoa. So, and we'll see how that works out. I'm sure there's some kinks in the schedule that still have to be smoothed over. But, it's going to be tight 14-game season, the sprint season next year. The teams in each conference are only going to play other teams in your conference. So the Rocky Mountain Cup in the sprint season will be decided in one match. I hope that's at DSG Park. I don't want it to be at America First or whatever they call their stadium in Salt Lake City. But we'll see. Rapids if they just have to tie to keep the cup again, that'll be fine with me. And then if they win it this year plus sprint season, that'll be 4 years in a row, 4 seasons in a row anyway. And we'll take that. We'll take that. By the way, I didn't recognize Mehdi Bellucci at all. He shaved his head. Whatever. So there's your ADHD nonsense rabbit hole of the night. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm recording this in late night Rapids fashion. It is 3:00 in the morning, and that's just how I did it because I had family over. We did some family things, and you know how that goes. And then it's 1 a.m, and I'm like, oh man, I got to do this. I told them I had to leave early, but whatever. So here I am. This will be released before the Rapids match against Kansas City. And I have one friend who said he might rent his house out. He's looking at it in Kansas City because there's going to be so many people there. And I'm like, dang, man. And I've been to the NASCAR track. I've been to Dignity. It's Children's Mercy or Live Strong, Lance Armstrong or whatever. And I've been to Kauffman Stadium / Arrowhead. And man, I will say this over Kansas City. Denver has more room than Kansas City would in their immediate stadium where they're holding the game at Arrowhead. But they're not going to put in the NASCAR loop, but that place is big over there. And I'm interested to see where they're going to put. Allegedly, they're getting a new stadium for the Chiefs there in a few years. On the Kansas side too, so So there's that. But it's gonna be real big. It's gonna be crazy. And I've never been to a Chiefs game there, but I've been to Royals and I've been to the Arrowhead, a couple other events. So I'm excited to watch some national teams there. And it's going to be on, man. Kansas City in late June, early July. Nothing better. Nothing better than summering in Kansas. Gonna need one of those hats with the misters on it, I think, because that's gonna be something. And I am excited for it. So Zach Steffen is off the injury report. I don't think he's going to World Cup, and that sucks because I would be excited for him, just to get a Rapids player doing that. But if he comes and wins some games for the Rapids and the team makes the playoffs, I'll be excited for them after missing out by a single point last year. And, they don't go to Leagues Cup, and it's going to be a building year for the Rapids, and we'll see what happens. Is it the year of Yappy? We already asked. I don't know. It's still early. He's on his third coach already. 21 years old. Frazier, Armas, and now Matt Wells. So we'll see what happens with him. But 2 goals this early in the campaign. Certainly excited. Sad that Reggie Kane is not there. Definitely missed him this past weekend. I don't know what happened on that free kick goal. That was rough. There's gonna be some explaining from that. And I listened to Matt Wells' press conferences, and obviously he was disappointed by that when he the midweek one. He said, it's all he thinks about is soccer. Like, I don't want to say it, basically workaholic about soccer, which is fine if that's your job and you do that all the time, and I'm happy for it. And I remember I always say I cared too much about something when I was sitting in the dark during a playoff game in my room, just being sad because my team was getting blown out, and I was like, well, there's got to be a better way, right? There's got to be that was my rock bottom. My dog wouldn't hang out with me. He was mad. He left. He was like, nah, he didn't want to hang out with me. I was just yelling. And, is it good to care about things that much? Maybe. But as I said earlier, in moderation, your sports can't be drugs. Like you win to just be level. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing drugs just to get regular. You're not getting high anymore. You're just getting regular. So, you don't want too high highs. You don't want too low lows. You just want to be, even Steven. You want to be a not bipolar sports fan. I don't know. It's your 3 a.m. musings here. And, yeah, man, I'll take Denver. I love me some Denver, even though it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot this weekend. And it's too bad that the Rapids are in Kansas City, because it would be nice. In the first couple games, I've been nice. I was real sick last week. So, anyway, I'm excited for this team. I'm excited to see what happens. Rapids currently in 7th place in the East. Where's my standings? Yeah, bringing them up here in a second. Still trying to get used to this software that I'm using. And I'll get to the standings here in a second. There we go. All right, let's do the Western Conference first. Vancouver. They dominated Minnesota, and they got 14 goals scored on the season, 3+ a game. They're averaging. Only one against. Goal differential plus 13. First place for Vancouver early. So that's nice. LAFC second, San Diego, 10 points. They fall on the road last week. San Jose, Seattle, Salt Lake won their third match of the season. Good enough for 6th place, 3 points above the Rapids. So, and I know it's early and nothing really matters right now, although every point matters, but we shouldn't be, just watching. But we'll take it. And my favorite thing is the inform standings that they took away, like Supporters Shield, and they put the inform standings where it ranks, it shows every team from 1 to 30 and where they've done the last couple weeks, but it still ranks them points wise. So you can see who the Supporters Shield is going to at the moment. Houston and Dallas start out. The Texas teams, LA Galaxy below them, Austin on 4 points, Kansas City 4 points, Minnesota for James Rodriguez made his debut the other day in the beatdown that Vancouver gave Minnesota. Portland and then St. Louis, the caboose of the league team of the Western Conference, because they're not wooden spoon. They're not even close. Not even close, actually. Although they have a -5 goal differential, but that's okay. And in the East, City and the Rapids had a good test. Obviously, they have a lot to improve. The defense, as I said, Mrs. Stefan and Reggie Cannon. So, going into New York, going on the East Coast, it's always going to be a rough trip for Colorado. And we'll see what happens. But New York City, as I said, first place. Nashville, first place. They had a good week. They're going to the quarterfinals of CONCACAF Champions Cup, and they're in second place in the East. Miami, third place on 7 points, tied with them. New York Red Bull, 7 points. Charlotte, 5. 7th place, Chicago, 4. Toronto, who the Rapids will be visiting next week at the end of their 3-game road trip. They got 4 points there in 8th place. And our old friend Robin Fraser and Georgi Mihailovic will be over there. Hopefully he plays for that match. New England, 3 points. And 10th place, the last playoff team, Atlanta. Cincinnati in 11th. Montreal, 3 points in 12th. Orlando, 3. Columbus, 2 points in 14th place. And Philadelphia, 0 points, 2 goals scored on the season, -5 goal differential. And I know it's really early, very early. I already said it twice. The Rapids own Philadelphia's entire draft picks of this year in December. The draft will be in December, but the draft is called the 2027 draft. So 2027 MLS Super Draft. So that's a good thing for the Rapids, although apparently Philadelphia doesn't value their draft picks at all. They're traded the entire year to the Rapids, and that's always a gamble. The Philadelphia Union are like NBA owners of the 1980s who would just give entire drafts away. The Lakers in 82 won the title, and they had the first pick in the draft. So they won the title with Magic Johnson, and then they had the first pick in the draft. So that's how, NBA owners loosely regarded their picks. So we'll take it. We'll take it fast and loose if the Rapids can get the number 1 pick, because that's what it would be if the season ended today after 4 games. So that's the thing to watch. We're kind of on that watch. Another KSC DNA team, the Colorado Avalanche, picked very high and I think it was an Ottawa Senators pick from a couple years ago. That was one of their pieces for the 2022 Stanley Cup, and it was a couple years before that. So Joe Sakic was the GM when that happened, and Ottawa gave up, I think it was number 3. I can look it up. So that's the thing I've been talking about for the last couple years. So we're kind of on watch because Philadelphia, they finished in the top 3 of Supporters Shield last year. And I don't know if they thought they were going to be that low. And they obviously didn't value it that much. So we'll see. I think it was 2017. Let me see. Sometimes the AI mode on Google doesn't exactly work as you want it to work, right? Like, let me see. It was. All right, I'm spending way too much time on a hockey trade, and we're supposed to be doing a Colorado Rapids podcast. Is it? I don't know. I'll look it up. I have to. I don't know. I mean, we'll just do some Colorado news right now, really quickly. And I'm excited. They're going to be putting speed cameras on the highway. And normally I wouldn't be excited for, speed cameras or any of that. But the good thing about living on the light rail is public transit is right there. The bad thing, one of the negatives, of which there are not that really many, especially over here in the DU, because the unhoused people don't usually stay over here, and DU security, chases them away, whatever. People, they start their like drag race right outside of my house, like to go straight down the highway here. So to have speed cameras, I'm sure they will be able to catch the people that are drag racing. You know what I'm saying? So good and bad is what I mean to say. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I feel like this is going to be good. But also for people, just drive the speed limit in the city. We don't need that. We don't need accidents, and we definitely don't need drag racing on the highway, because it's like we live kind of like in a tunnel with some tall buildings. So right where you would go is so loud. I think it was, I don't know. I'm messing up with this. So anyway, the Colorado Rapids. This is Rapid Rant. Thank you for listening. You find us on all social medias. I don't do some of them. Some guy got to cut all these government programs because he knows what he's doing, and I don't use his. It was irresponsible the way he even bought Twitter, and everything he does makes sense. So I can't give him looks. I can't give him money. What am I talking about? Twitter X, whatever it is. But let's look forward to the Rapids. A couple things coming up next week. FIFA, they released all the posters. So I'm going to do a little poster review. We're going to talk about Kansas City, their match against the Rapids. We're going to hopefully talk about a win. Although it was weird last year, the Rapids couldn't get a win at home early. They had a couple draws. And this year, domination at home. And New York, it looked better than it did in Seattle. Their play anyway. And we'll see what happens in Kansas. Which is a lot easier to travel around and get around than obviously New York City. So there's that. But Rapids go to Kansas. Will they come home with some points? I say 3 points. I hope Yappy continues the streak. I talked about how Rafa Navajo, he got an assist this weekend. So hopefully he can get back and have some fun in Kansas. The new guy scored, although Lucas Harrington is gone for national team duty. As I said earlier, Zach Steffen was not on the injury report, so hopefully he can play. That would be a positive for the Rapids. And yeah, I'll be here waiting and watching, hoping that Salt Lake doesn't win, although they are a Mountain Time team. So I guess I'm not rooting for them too hard, but I don't know. I got to be neutral for these Mountain Time teams, right? And Arizona's on West Coast time now. They're in Pacific time zone, so can't even talk about Arizona. And if somehow the Denver Nuggets play Arizona in the playoffs, I think the Nuggets are going to dominate them. But this is a whole different story for a whole different show. That's the Mountain Time Sports Report. Go to there. Mountain Time Sports Report on YouTube. Mountain Time Sports. But this is Rapids Rant. I want to thank Caberto, host emeritus, for editing, putting up the show. I am Don Pablo. If you listen this far, God bless you. And hopefully we could talk about a Rapids victory next week. Vaya con Dios.